Good afternoon, everybody. My name is miahtheking, and people who take care of chickens are literally chicken tenders. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam called Victoria 3, developed by Paradox Development Studio and published by Paradox Interactive. Now, just like Superpowers 3, I have not played any of the prequel games to this one. I'm jumping right in as a complete noob, so if you're a veteran of this game series, then I apologize ahead of time. Now, this game is a grand strategy, strategical, economical kind of game with, history, because it involves real countries that actually, existed or still exist to this day. Anyway, on the Steam store page it says, Paradox Development Studio invites you to build your ideal society in the tumult of the exciting and transformative 19th century. Balance the competing interests in your society and earn your place in the sun in Victoria 3. One of the most anticipated games in Paradox's history. Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Now, this game was not released in early access, and for me it's charging $50 American. Jeez, these games, they just keep getting more and more expensive lately, and I ain't got enough money to keep up with all this nonsense. Anyway, let's see if the game is worth its huge asking price. Now, right off the bat, you can see the quality in this game, so why don't we start off with the positives. I can now understand, by the way, why everyone from my Superpowers 3 video was asking me to review this one. They are incredibly similar. Maybe they wanted me to see what a good version of that game looked like, and rightly so. So, as I was saying, right off the bat, you can see the quality on the screen. The graphics here are amazing. The attention to detail is amazing. The artwork is superb. I mean, just look at this. Look at the quality. Look at the detail. It's freaking amazing. When you zoom in, you actually get to see the specifics that you desperately want to see. Man, it's so pretty. Next up on the positives is the sound design and the music. Now, I didn't hear any voice acting. Not sure if there is any. But regardless, you can hear the wind, the people, the trains, the sound effects for every button press, and I could keep going, but they're all there, and they all sound perfect. Even the music, it comes in and fades out at the right times. It's always in the background and pleasant enough that you can just let it filter into the unknown recesses of your brain while it's hard at work trying to understand all this shit. It's great. Then you've got the user interface. It's pretty darn nice. Everything is accessible the way you want it to be. Everything has a tooltip to give you more information. It's all neatly organized and easy to maneuver and find your way around. It's easy to click in and out of things, and it's pretty much just easy to use and access, which is great. And it's something that a lot of us, some of you might out there not understand how much of a boon that is. But when the UI is great, it makes playing the game feel smoother and more comfortable. So it's important. The writing here is great, at least from what I read. The gameplay is pretty fun and engaging too. I mean, there are so many things at play here that you'll really feel like you're ruling your own country. It's actually a bit overwhelming, but I'll go into that a bit later. But this game doesn't focus on war or world conquest. That's actually just kind of a minor thing, a tool that you use to better your economy or political standing. So war is not the objective here. Ruling your people effectively is, and managing the economy is. Not only that, but they have little interactive events where something will happen in your country somewhere and it'll have something that you need to react to, a train derailment or a riot that got out of control. Each reaction that you could, use to respond to this gives either a plus or a minus to something in your country, so make sure you're careful which response you pick. Which is just nice, by the way, because it allows you to interact directly with your people in some fashion, so you're not just looking at nothing but numbers on a screen. They've also got a tutorial phase, which is the only positive thing that I could say about it. I'll go into that later as well. The fact that it has a tutorial needs to be addressed because with a game like this, and being this complicated, it was desperately needed. So the fact that they have one, they get a kudo point. But, like I said, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But then you've got the length of the game. Now this game could very easily eat up months of your time because you'll be playing it for frickin' ever. It's a very long game. And with the ability to play as almost every country in the world, the replayability is definitely there too. Okay, so that's all I got to say about the good about this game. Now I gotta talk about the bad. And fans of this game out there, don't hate on me, okay? I'm only using logic and my unbiased opinion as a brand new player, alright? Okay, so this game, wow, I mean... Okay, first off, that loading screen was taking me forever. That's not a negative, that's just a complaint. And the stability is probably the next thing I need to talk about. I mean, for me at least, the game was freezing, stuttering, just glitching all the time. It really needs some quality control. So the first bad thing that I noticed was the stability. Now, the game never crashed on me, and it did recover from every glitch, but it made my entire first hour of playing it a bit scary and unnerving. I didn't know if it was going to freeze completely or crash on me or destroy my computer or what. And that level of uncertainty made me a bit pensive about continuing on. Next up is the tutorial. Now, while I greatly appreciate the tutorial, it wasn't enough, and yet it was too much at the same time. Now, I know that sounds contradicting, but hear me out. So at first, the tutorial was great. It was teaching me what I needed to know in step-by-step, page-by-page processes, which was greatly appreciated. But the longer I played the tutorial, the less sense it was starting to make. Pretty soon, it was telling me to go research this, so you can research that, so you can research this, so you can learn this, so you can finally build that. Why did it need so much info? Why did it need so many steps? Why couldn't it just sum it up for me? Why did I have to go through 6 frickin' steps to learn I needed to build another government building to collect taxes? It did give me the information I needed, but it took way too long and had too much fluff. And when I finally did get to the end, I was only more confused. Now, I'm not a pro at games like this. Hell, I'm a big old noob at games like this. So giving me so much information at once about one of your functions seems a bit like overkill to me. Just tell me step by step, this thing for that thing, what I need, when I need it. Don't try to teach me half the game in the process of learning one small step of the game. And to make matters worse, suddenly the tutorial just bailed on me, leaving me high and dry. They literally said, just go play the game and make mistakes. That's how you learn. Bye-bye. And I was like, wait, what? I don't even know how to do trade yet, and you're sending me off on my own? It was kind of frustrating. The worst part is even after playing it for over an hour, I still have no freaking idea what I'm doing, or why this or that happened, or how to fix them, and I'm trying really hard. I'm not stupid. I'm trying really hard to read everything and research everything and learn everything. Then I do everything that seems to make sense to me, like they say you want to decrease prices of goods in your kingdom. Well, there's a couple ways you can do that, by improving your own infrastructure or by bringing in a trade route. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just do the trade route then. So I go to the trade route to bring in iron so it'll improve the rest of my economy. And then the game shouts 3 different errors at me saying, your trade route is screwing everything up. And I'm like, but you told me to do this. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Every time I was trying to fix something, a problem, the game was throwing 3 more problems at me because my fix wasn't working, even though the tutorial told me that's how I'm supposed to fix it. That's the kind of confusion I was facing, people. If you don't understand, neither did I. Next up is the gameplay itself. Yes, that's right. The gameplay is both a good and a bad here. While the gameplay is pretty good overall, it seems to me that it's a little bit too complicated. Okay, not overcomplicated because, I mean, you're trying to rule a nation after all. Maybe not complicated, too complicated. It's just, it's a bit overwhelming. I mean, you are thrown so many things. Trade, tariffs, taxes, imports, exports, production values, people's wants and needs, military strength, military positions, borders, political sides, activists, diplomatic issues with foreign nations, and the list keeps going on. It's a lot to deal with for a noob at the very beginning. Now, this isn't necessarily a big negative because fans of this genre will probably think that this is great, but for a noob like me, it was pretty overwhelming. I apologize if you can hear my cat meowing in the background because every time I'm recording, my pets decide that now is the time to come and bug me. But that's all I got for the negatives. Even that price, while it is a bit much, when you take a look at everything the game is offering, it's not actually a bad price. I mean, if you look at the quality of the graphics and the sound design, it's worth it. If you look at the length of play and replayability options, it's worth it. If you look at the overall game design and detail present here, it's worth it. So I can't even say it's too high of a price because honestly, for everything here, it seems perfectly appropriate to me even if it is a bit expensive. So, the bottom line, is it a good game? Well, in my own personal opinion, it's a freaking great game. This game is amazing. It's got so much going for it that it was hard for me to find anything negative about it. I mean, I had to really stretch out my earlier negatives because it was all I had. Okay, yeah, the game is super complicated and gives way too much detail and information. But that's what this game genre is known for, so I can't fault it for that. It's a slow game about managing a country, and it gives you all the details to really micromanage the shit out of it. If you want something faster or more simple, go play one of the Civilization games. This game is for a dedicated audience of people who really want to get in depth into the pros and cons of ruling a nation, and they really want to see all those numbers and all that text. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to like it. It does have its downsides, like the fact that the only thing you can see on the world is the trains moving. I mean, that's still pretty cool, but I wish there was a bit more. Also, the game is mostly about watching the graphs go up and down based on which decisions you're making. For some, this could seem really boring and repetitive. And then you have the war aspect. It's very much not really there. I mean, you can kind of build soldiers and can kind of declare war and kind of fight, but it's all just more numbers and watching things on the map move back and forth while you try to figure out how to make it work in your favor. But overall, for what the game is marketing and what the game genre is and what they were promising, it's pretty much giving the fans exactly what they want. At least I think so, since I'm a noob just jumping in. I personally wasn't having much fun with the game, and I found it overly complicated and overwhelming. But I still feel like it's a pretty good game. I just wish it had more in the war aspect and maybe a little bit less information, maybe a better tutorial that's more summarized. But maybe that's just not this kind of game. Maybe that means it's just not for me. overall the game was pretty darn good and had a lot going for it, even though it's not for me. So if you were watching this and thinking it looks too slow-paced, boring, and complicated, then it's definitely not for you. But if you're a fan of games like this that really, you want to micromanage a country that isn't all about war, then you'll probably end up loving this game. As a noob, I can only give my opinion based on what I played, and from what I played, it was a really well put together game that had a really good idea of what it was doing, and they had a lot of quality, and I think they did it very well. So that's all I got. I mean, if you watched this video and thought it looked interesting, then I highly encourage you to check it out. But if it looks a bit boring and a bit complicated, then I highly encourage you to walk away, because it's even more complicated than it looks. And that's all the time I got for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.